just imagination. Girl, but all the while, you hear a creature creeping up behind. You're out of time.
You're confident. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're the greatest of all time.
Let me tell you something. In this life, you're either a winner or you're a loser. Y'all want to work in a steel mill like me for the rest of your days?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I sure as hell don't. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
I need to hear you a little louder. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
Ready whenever you are, Michael.
Do you know what I'm after?
You want to be the biggest star in the world?
We need to capitalize on Michael's success. Because the Jackson family is the brand. That's our Coca-Cola. And we need to start selling. So I'm planning an international tour. This is just the beginning.
I need to think.
I told you what to think.
I love my family. I just want to do my own thing. Just have all these ideas in my head. Just gotta get them out.
Then do it, Michael. Not a little boy anymore.
People always told me, be careful what you do.
Michael, I knew you were different the moment you were born. You have a very special life, too.
And mother always told me, be careful who you love.
I believe music can change the world.
Then the lie becomes the truth. The bitter cheese, that's my love.
Spread love,
The bitter cheese,
joy,
that's my love.
and peace.
Yeah.
That is what I want the world to feel. Magic.
Awesome trailer. Now, I'm just gonna go through. This is actually the first time I'm watching this, but I'm just gonna go through and just highlight a few things that I see as a creative. So I like the sound design. I really like the sound score. I will not comment on that given the time available, but I'll just really put emphasis on maybe the visual side of things, what I'm seeing, what I'm picking up in terms of what filmmaking techniques they seem to be using in this particular trailer. I might not pick up on everything, so if there's anything that you see as we go along, please feel free to note it down and drop it in the comments. I'll be happy to learn from you as well. So yeah, we start right off with a beautiful, I believe this is a drone shot in a stadium. Nothing too fancy, just a classic opener. I already see intentionality in this next shot that we have Michael walking in, I don't know if this is a corridor or something backstage. And what you actually see is lines. And in filmmaking, these are usually called leading lines. And they call them leading lines because they lead your eye towards what the center of the action should be, or what the center of interest is that the director and cinematographer want you to see. And in this case, it's the hero of the movie, Michael Jackson himself, or whoever is playing it in this movie is Jafar Jackson, who is Michael's nephew, I believe. Yeah, so when you see these lines, you see these lines. It's not a mistake that they're there. It's intentionally meant to drive your eye towards the character, the hero of the film. And I actually saw another clip later on in the trailer that I think explains this technique slightly better. So maybe we'll keep moving, and if I see it, I'll highlight it. Now, this particular shot I find interesting because it elevates the message behind the narration that I'm hearing. You actually hear him talking about it seems to be like a situation of anxiety, a situation of doubt that he's going through, that I guess almost every creative goes through. And the decision by the filmmaker, the cinematographer, to put this camera above him is not a mistake, because you could have put that camera anywhere in the room and it would, if I could say, bear a different emotion. Wherever you put the camera in the room has a totally different interpretation of what the viewer is meant to feel. So when when Michael is talking about this state of almost being insignificant, almost being doubtful of his own talent, you see that the cinematographer is putting the camera right above him, and they do this quite a lot in Hollywood, in documentary work. We do use this a lot as well, basically to give a sense that the character is almost feeling small. It's like this whole world is above him, and he's feeling like a pawn or an insignificant, what do I say, an insignificant element in the universe. And then the opposite is usually used when you want to show that the character is all confident, powerful, and magnificent. You see that a lot in superhero movies, where the camera would usually be placed down low to then make the character seem bigger and stronger and in control, magnificent. So what they're actually doing here is intentionally meant to make Michael feel small, and the fact that it's not a wide shot, it seems to be a medium shot. It almost like cramps him into a state of almost being trapped in this state of mind. And when you listen to the narration as it goes along, you will get the understanding of what I'm trying to explain here.
You're confident.
So you see, he's trying to encourage himself that you're confident, or you have this in control. I think we see that same narrative developing throughout the clip, if I had clearly. So we'll keep moving. Let's see what else I see. You can see the leading lines a bit more clearly here. What else do I see? This is normal stuff. Fans cheering. I do like this shot because of the, if I could say that, the color, not only color contrast, but the contrast in light. The fact that you have spots, different spots of the stage that are lit differently. Some are dark, some are in the medium spot, some are almost entirely blown out, like this spot right here. It almost reminds me of, I don't know if you guys played chess or checkers. If you look at the chessboard, in this part of the world we call checkers draft. I don't know why. But anyway, it's this whole idea of when you go out to create, be it indoors, be it out in the natural world, your eye should always be looking out for where is the light hitting, and what are the different shapes that light is making. How can I look out for what we often call contrast, that difference between the dark spots and the light spots, what we call highlights and shadows. And your eye should be trained in a way that you're always investigating and trying to see, how can I utilize the way in which light is behaving. When we're out in the natural world, we're basically playing with the sun. As it filters through the branches, as it filters through the trees, what, if I could say, images or what shapes is it making on the ground or on the environment around it. And this is actually what I get from this. And also, I do pick up on it quite a lot later on in the clip as well. So we'll keep going. Here's just another classic example of a leading line, a spotlight shot on stage. I do like this drone shot. It's beautiful, just beautiful. Nothing much to say about it. Speaks for itself. Then here I already get the sense that they are, and I'm just guessing, just looking at the clip for the very first time, I get the sense that they are going more for a color grade that is sitting within the palette of what we often call the teal and orange. Teal and orange basically plays around with two main colors. It's orange and tint, which we often call blue. You might call it a shade of blue, a particular shade of blue. And often what happens is that the midtones, which is usually where the skin falls, the skin tones fall, is usually pushed more towards the orange, and then the shadow side of the image, where you see the points of the image that are not as properly lit as his face, are usually pushed more towards the blue tone. And when you actually see this shot, you can see in the window you have quite a lot of blue, which often indicates light coming in from the moon at night. But also the cupboard used in the background also it's intentionally been painted, what we call color grading, to carry more of a blue tone in it. Okay, I'll keep going. Yeah, so you actually see what I was saying is that there is intentionality in the way that in the colors that they are using in the whole film. They all come from this palette that we're calling the teal and orange palette. If I could actually just demonstrate, I don't know if I could. Let me pull up Google search and we can look at a color wheel. Let me see if I could just find a quick color wheel. The color wheel just explains how color in our world works. I'm not going to overcomplicate this. I'm just going to make it very simple, just for you to understand. So oftentimes what cinematographers are looking for is contrast. We've talked about contrast in the form of light, where we are comparing or juxtaposing dark spots with light spots. But you can still use contrast in form of color. And in color, you're usually getting a color that is on one end of the spectrum and juxtaposing it with another color on the. So in the teal and orange color palette, you usually see that on the orange side, they're usually playing around with orange, maybe different shades of orange, a bit of yellow in there, a bit of red. And then on the blue side, it's of course they're playing around with tint, they're playing around with blue. And I'm just going to encourage you as we slide through the image, you might pick up this as we go along. So in your free time, you can Google color wheel. Okay, and you can actually see in this particular shot as well, you can see the deliberate decision to put a teal couch or a teal rocking seat right here. They could have put a black seat there, but it's intentionally put there to, if I could say, provide consistency to, or rather complementarity and consistency to this whole palette that they are trying to drive with the film. And then you can see in the back there is I don't know if you'd call that a blanket that's on the couch that also carries the same colors that we were talking about. That marriage, it's almost a marriage or a competition between the orange and yellow side of things with juxtaposed with the blue side of things. And you might actually also pick this up in the way they are dressed. It's not just in the lights that are used. It's not just in the props. Props we mean like chairs or blankets, but it might also be in the wardrobe. I've not really picked it up in the wardrobe yet, but I get the sense that we might get an example as we go along. Okay. Yeah, so you can already see there is quite a bit of yellow. Baby MJ, I think they are rehearsing in front of their dad, but you can see he's deliberately dressed in that yellow pajamas. And this guy playing the guitar on the far right is also in, if I could say, an orangish beige kind of color palette. This is all intentional, and I'm going to use a lot of intentional and deliberate. Those two words might come up quite a lot as we review. It just gives an indication that each and every filmic decision that is made in creating photo and video content, especially at this scale where you're dealing with blockbuster productions, but also documentary stuff that often has quite a serious budget attached to this. Oftentimes they're not guessing; they're actually pre-planning each and everything, from the way they're dressed, from the way items are placed around the room, from how the camera is positioned, from how the final color grade, what we're calling the way in which the image is painted to look. It's all intentional. It's all done to give off a particular mood, a particular emotion. And when you actually see the warm tones in this room, it almost gives you that cozy vibe that we are indoors as a family. We are spreading love to an extent. And I think we'll continue to pick this up as we go along. Now, here's something that I really, really love. When you watch film, oftentimes it's something that we do not pick up on consciously. We pick it up more subconsciously. It's the fact that we enjoy content a lot more in the film space if it's shot with a thought of a three-dimensional concept. And the reason behind this is because we experience the world in 3 dimensions. Actually, what's funny is that our eyes pick up a 2-dimensional image, and then our brain translates the images from the 2 eyes into a 3-dimension to now give us the image that we see. It's an interesting study that I would encourage you to look into. And cinematographers understand this, and this is why they try to replicate. I'll just use this image just to show you what's going on. So by 3-dimension, we're talking about there's going to always be a foreground, there's going to be a middle ground, and then there's going to be a background. So you're always thinking in 3 layers. And the layers can get more, but the basics is that we're looking to achieve a 3-dimensional look. Now, what they're doing here is that they're obviously having a conversation around the table. The boys, I think, are perhaps looking towards the father, I guess. Yes, they're all looking towards the father, and you can see baby Michael here listening quite sternly to what his dad, this is Joe Jackson, I believe, the dad is saying. And then you have the mother on the far end of the table, which is the shot that we're getting. So what the cinematographer wants you to see is that facial reaction from the mother sitting across the table as the dad explains whatever he's explaining to his family. But the deliberate choice of making these boys out of focus and also not lighting them up as bright as the mother almost certainly directs your eye towards the mother. And this particular clip is actually very, very short. It's probably like 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds. But it appears and your eye automatically knows where to look. The mother, who I believe is playing Katherine Jackson, the mother of the Jackson family. And then you can see in the background, there's quite a bit of clutter from the kitchen. And the cinematographer is intentionally putting that out of focus as well to give the sense of you're separating her from both the boys in the foreground and also what's happening in the background. And you can see in the background, they've actually lit it in the way that it complements the light that is shining onto the mother. It often makes you feel like this is the light in the room. This is the color of the light in the room, which often is not always the case. Actually, in film, oftentimes you have you have a key light that is lighting the lady, and it's matched to give on a particular tone that the film wants to carry. And as we saw earlier on, is that they're driving more towards a warm look, a warm tone, juxtaposed with blue. With a blue grade or blue tone in the shadows. And you even see the dress in which she's dressed also is carrying blue tones. It's intentional. I don't know if you're beginning to see what I'm seeing. Okay, so we'll keep moving. You know what I could just quickly pick up on here. Here's another shot we could talk about. Now, this is a classic example of a filmmaking technique we call a frame in a frame. Now, a frame in a frame is usually used to quickly direct your eye towards the point of interest. And actually, this image that we had earlier of the mother, where is it? Yeah, this is also an example of a frame in a frame. They're using these boys to create a frame for the mother, and we're seeing this again here as Michael peeps out the curtains. I don't know if he's looking at his family, his parents, maybe leaving home and going to work, or maybe he's just thinking about what the future holds. Okay, so the whole concept of a frame in a frame is that what you see filmmakers doing many a time is when they look around the room, they are often looking for shapes in which to place their character. And what this does is that it further enforces the intention to direct your eye towards the point of interest. It could be maybe a window, it could be a gap in the curtain, like this particular shot that we have. It's not by mistake that they do this. It's very intentional. And the shape doesn't always have to be a square. It doesn't always have to be a rectangle. It could be circular. It could be triangular. And as we saw in the earlier shot with the mother, it could also be shapeless, a shapeless frame. And there are actually times where you see that they're using more than one frame in a frame. You might find that you have the main frame, which is a full screen. Then you have a cutout and another cutout and then another cutout that now leads to the subject that they want you to look at. So it's not always just one frame. There are situations where you have more than one frame in a frame. Okay, we keep going. Wow, this guy actually looks like Quincy. Yeah? This really shows that they did quite some decent casting. For those that don't know Quincy Jones was almost synonymous with Michael Jackson's success. He produced, I believe, the bulk of his best hits. Unfortunately, we lost Quincy Jones last year. Rest in peace. Okay, so one other thing that I'm actually also picking up on is a lesson that I learned, that I've learned throughout the years as you prepare, as you plan for a production. It's just to think about each and every frame, how it's going to appear, and how you should intentionally make it feel for the viewer. And what I'm actually saying is, in the case of a video or in case of film, you want to make sure that wherever anyone pauses, they should be able to understand what's going on. They should be able to get a story from a frozen frame. Now, when it comes to photography, it's the opposite, actually. In photography, what we're actually doing is that we are freezing a moment, and we should freeze it in a way that if someone had the ability to click play, the elements or the objects in that photograph should kind of come to life. It's this whole idea of just being thoughtful with the particular image you're capturing, be it in photo form or video form as well. So when you actually just look at this frame, you can already understand that Michael is lost in thought. And it actually matches well with this particular shot that we had earlier of him as a baby looking at the window, and then they are showing maybe a shot of him as a teenager or as maybe in his 20s, and a young adult maturing in his craft, but also in age as well. Okay, I talked about Quincy. I like that shot, that, what do they call it? It's not a dolly shot. Basically, you see the movement of the camera from the hand to the face. It's a very simple shot, but it quickly carries emotion. Okay, let's keep going. I could also talk about this particular frame. You can see that the lights are, if I could say, complementing his tone, the colors in his skin, what we're calling skin tones. And actually, if you look around the room, if you look down here, you can see that the shadows are pushed more towards the blue tone. that's something that I quickly picked up on, and it's seeming to look deliberate as we go along. And I think when the movie comes out later in April, when we go to see it, I encourage you to look at some of these techniques that the cinematographer is doing, what decisions they're making. Unfortunately, the more you do that, film almost becomes less enjoyable, because now you're looking out for critiquing, you're looking out for spots that you can learn from. That's why for me right now it takes me quite a bit of time to watch a movie, because I'm clicking through, I'm pausing, I'm zooming in. Yeah, just trying to see what I can learn and implement in my own work as well. So anyway, what I was saying is that the color of the lights used here is complementing his skin tones. Okay, it's just paparazzi going on. Now you can even see another classic shot here, which gives you an indication of a frame in a frame, as we talked about earlier. But the other thing that I'm saying is that our colors seem to be even more pronounced here. You can see the color on the elevator doors. If I could just go back a bit, you can see that they are going with that same vibe that we've been talking about. In his coat, he has that saturated blue juxtaposed with a goldish look, which would fall into the yellows and oranges as well. and Michael in the shot almost pops out, because if you see the way I don't know if these are his managers or his music managers or his assistants that are perhaps following him to a business meeting to maybe sign a music deal. They are deliberately dressed in a dull color to basically allow him as a superstar to pop out and shine. It's all these deliberate decisions that you see going on in the film. Okay, let's keep going. It's just that's another shot emphasizing what we've been talking about. What else did I see? Here's another example of a frame in a frame. It's a classic shot of a car window. It's just another example of how you can use a frame in a frame. And oftentimes a frame in a frame is not only to put the subject within the frame, but it's also to show what they're saying. Okay, we'll keep moving. Now here's another example of how a frame in a frame is being used to complement the other elements of the story that is going on in the film. I think at this point, Joe Jackson was talking about how he was going to start, if I could say, doing a world tour with his family. And you have the paparazzi around, basically framing him and taking shots of him, documenting this monumental moment in the Jackson career. But what you see is that his head has been placed within a box, the mirror. You see that? If his head wasn't there, you would wonder what's going on in the mirror. If he had been moved maybe to his left, which is our right, first of all, these flowers would be coming out of his side, which is one thing that we usually do not want to see. But then you definitely wonder what's going on. Why is the mirror so bright? And also, what is going on in the mirror? Your eyes would often be wandering and looking around for what else you can see. But the fact that he's been placed almost blocking what's going on in the mirror, but also his head has almost been framed within this box, is something that is intentionally done. Okay, we keep moving. And you can see it's consistently teal and orange. Teal and orange. You continue to pick that up as we go along. You can even see the lights that they're using here. It's still that blue and orange kind of light. And then you can also see with the light, it's also an emphasis of the leading lines. Classic thing that we talked about. Leading lines that are used to show a point of interest. And when you actually see this shot, the way in which the brothers in the back, they're colored in a way that they are darker than Michael, because they want the focus to be on him. Oftentimes when you see an image like this, you automatically block out what else is happening in the frame, and you automatically pick up on what the filmmaker wants you to see. It's all intentionality. Let's keep going. Another classic example of a leading line, that spotlight shot. We keep going. Of course, in this image, you can still see the same vibe they're going with, the yellow tones, the blues being complemented through the jeans. You can even see the magazine on the table has quite a yellow theme going on. The lights, this glass on the table also has yellow juice. Could have been green juice, but since we are going with this whole teal and orange look, you can see the consistency. And now the reds as well are also, if I could say, sitting in well. You almost have this reddish maroon look on the table that seems to sit well with the color of the walls, but also the color of the shirt that I think Michael is putting on in this particular shot. Okay, we'll keep going. This is another beautiful shot that I liked that reinforces the whole story that I was talking about, that three-dimensional look that I was talking about earlier. You can see that the car is in the foreground, sorry. In the middle ground, you have the ridge, and then in the background, the far side of the image, you have those skyscrapers and the sky. It's intentionally shot that way to give you that three-layered look or three-dimensional look. This is why people actually enjoy what you call 3D movies. They really immerse you into the world. It's just one technique to basically pull you into the world that the story is being shot in. This is why we really enjoy 3D movies. One other technique that is usually deliberately used to remind you of the world that you come from, and why films often feel relatable, is the use of frame rates. This is just something that I'm just throwing out there since this image showed up. Majority of films, professionally done films, are shot at 24 frames per second, which is usually 23 point something for those that are in the film space. But oftentimes we call it 24 frames per second. And this actually is almost close to what the human eye sees. And you can see that cinematography is actually intentionally doing particular things to, if I could say, shoot an image in a way that it will not feel like it is, if I could say, it won't feel like it's so destructive. When you watch it, your human eye almost naturally picks it up. It looks normal, but even if it feels so grand, even if it carries this grandeur to it, you still can relate to it because it has that three-dimensional look, but also it's shot in frame rate, what we're calling frames per second, that is quite similar to what the human eye sees. Okay, we'll keep going. This is just a classic dialogue shot. This particular segment, this next segment, was actually one of my favorites, if not the favorite. I like the sequence, the transition from him coming down, the transition to the shoes, and then they cut to this classic shot. Now, I could say so much about this, but I'm just going to pick out on just a very few filmmaking techniques that I see going on. Now, first of all, what I see is just that consistent look of the shadows sit in the blues, whereas the highlights are allowed to shine. You can see the lights are allowed to pop because the rest of the image is almost taking on more of a blue tint. And this blue tint is deliberately thrown there at night to give the sense that this particular shot is being filmed under moonlight. If you actually see quite a number of films, you realize that moonlight is usually used to, blue tones are usually used to mimic the light that is coming from the moon at night. If I could just maybe play around with my, let me just play around with my key light here. If I turn it more towards the warm tone, you can see that the image is getting more orangish, more yellow. It gives you that warmish vibe. It's a type of color that is often used for warm destinations like Mexico in films, in places like Africa, places like Arabia. if I could say, quite observant as you watch film. But then when the art, if I could say, taking you into cold environments, oftentimes the light is given more of a blue tone. If you get what I'm saying, it's often given more of a blue tone. If I could also maybe let me also adjust the light in the little light in the back. You can see that it almost gets on more of a blue look to it. This at the moment is 65,000 Kelvin. This is now 3,000 Kelvin, which is a warm, a very warm tone. So this is just a filming technique that is used to give you a sense of the time, but also the temperature in this particular part of the world. Now, the other thing that I'm seeing is an emphasis on the leading lines again. You can see these lines coming off the roof that are pointing down towards Michael, who is a point of interest. And I don't know if it's deliberate that they've dressed him in a checkered shirt, that black and white shirt that, I don't know if it complements the lines on the roof or the lines on the roof complement the color in his shirt. That's just leading lines again. But then the other thing that I'm seeing as well is the intentionality around the frame in a frame. And if you look around this image, you see quite a number of frames in a frame. You see these boxes here, you see several windows, you see door frames, you see this, I don't know if you'd call it an arch in the side of a house. But the biggest frame in a frame is the parking lot where Michael is walking at the moment. And you can see that the buildings around here are almost forming point of interest. and you can even see the contrast in color. It is almost white, and the rest of the stuff happening around the frame is almost dark. This is just a creative way of looking at a frame in a frame. And what this does is your eye is automatically led towards the point of interest, which has been, if I could say, the cinematographer has driven your attention away from all the clutter that is happening around the frame for you to now really focus on what Michael is doing, walking towards maybe a different part of a building. Perhaps he's leaving the studio, going back home, or maybe leaving his house, going to the studio. Yeah, so I really loved this. Really loved this sequence, and I think for me it might have been the best, my favorite section of the sequence because it has quite a lot of storytelling going on, and then this particular shot as well. And I will have a lot to say about this. But one thing that I was actually hearing in the narration, if I remember very well, is that he seems to, if I could say, talk about these many ideas in his head that he can't seem to get out. And this is something that as creatives, almost all of us suffer with. It's always either this information overload where you almost can't decide what to shoot or what to start with, or it's a situation of creative block, what we often call creative block, where you almost can't find the right idea, or you can't, you almost are stuck in your creative process. You can't find the right story to tell. You don't know where to start. You basically, is usually the analogy used of where you're basically staring at a plain paper and you don't know what to write. So anyway, what I'm seeing in the frame is that you have the sticky notes in the image almost complementing the narration that is going on. This whole idea of I'm almost procrastinating. I have all these ideas in my head. And what the cinematographer is doing is they're creating a bit of clutter in the background using the sticky notes to convey this message. But that's actually not the main message that I actually wanted to share in this particular clip. And maybe before I share the main message, you can still see leading lines here. You can see this line is driving towards the back of his head, and then this one fuses into the front of his head. And then down here on the shelf, you can see This particular line is also almost ending with him. It's also driving weight into our main character. And he's strategically placed at the intersection of the lines because the cinematographer, again, wants your eye to be led there. And even the way in which it's lit, the sticky notes get light and also Michael gets light. And then you have points of the image that are in the shadow side because they want to give you that vibe of, I want you to look at Michael, but also subconsciously pick up on the idea that there are so many ideas in his head portrayed through the sticky notes on the notice board. Okay, now here's the point that I wanted to make regarding this particular image. Michael could have been placed anywhere in this frame. Actually, the almost natural decision would have been to put him in the middle of the frame, which is something that we almost certainly will do when we're taking photos, when we're filming anything. Almost each and every time you want to be in the middle. It's almost like a default position. But one thing that you understand the more you consume content, but also the more you create, you realize that each and every position in which you put your character carries a different message. In filmmaking, we call the sections of the frame, we usually call them thirds. You have the left third, the middle third, the right third. It's basically just splitting your screen into segments. And the thirds can be as many as countless. You can have one at the top, you can have one at the bottom, one in the middle. They could be horizontal, they could be vertical, they could be diagonal. But the classic ones are usually horizontal and vertical. That classic look where you see, let me see if I could actually Google. Let's call them film thirds. It's that classic shot of where you have an image split into 9 boxes. Let me just open this in another tab. Yeah, so it looks something like this. So wherever you decide to put your subject carries meaning, carries a particular emotion. And the emotion they're actually trying to present here is an emotion that shows that Michael is trapped within this extreme end of a frame. It's like he cannot breathe. It's like he only has a very small window within which he can operate. It's very intentional that he's placed there. If you had moved him anywhere else in the frame, you wouldn't have felt this state of discomfort, if I could call it uncomfortability, if that is even an English word. You wouldn't really feel that same essence, that same emotion, if he was placed anywhere else in the room. And we actually see this quite a lot even in documentary work, where oftentimes when the character or whoever they're interviewing is talking about a low moment in their life, it could be depression, it could be creative block, like for Michael here, or it could be procrastination, or maybe when they're talking about loss. Very creative cinematographers and storytellers will often push them towards the extreme far side of the frame. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to play this particular segment of a clip so that you get a mental image of what exactly I was trying to explain. This whole idea of he's talking about, he has all these ideas in his head that he can't seem to make sense of, or he can't seem to materialize.
Just have all these ideas in my head. Just gotta get them out.
And do it.
Do you hear that?
I love my family. I just want to do my own thing. Just have all these ideas in my head. Just gotta get them out.
And do it, Michael. Not a little boy anymore.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool use of cinematography technique. Okay. Oh, wow. I actually didn't pick up on this when we watched the trailer earlier. This is Bubbles. If you actually know Michael, if you're a Michael fan like me, you would know Bubbles. Bubbles was his pet chimpanzee. Quite a famous character that Michael really cared for, and I would say was quite proud to have. That's Babos there. It's nice that he shows up in the film. Okay, we'll keep going. You can still see the consistent look of the orangish vibe that they're going with the film. Leading lines, you still see them there. Okay, so this is actually the image that I was looking for earlier, that I had picked up on when I was talking about leading lines. This is a classic image that is used to demonstrate the technique of leading lines. So what these buildings are doing is that all these windows are forming lines. They're almost imaginary lines that, but when I explain it, you'll begin to see it. And as I explain this, I'll perhaps remind you of a classic image. You know that photo that oftentimes they take with a model on a bridge, where you have the rails of the bridge leading towards a middle point, and then the model is placed within the middle. It's not a mistake that image usually looks nice. That's another classic example of a leading line. Now, what these buildings are doing is that they are forming lines that all intersect at some point, and they all drive into the hero of the show, who is Michael Jackson, played by Jafar, as I mentioned, his nephew. So this is a classic leading line shot that you see used a lot in street photography, in film, in commercial work, models. This is a very simple shot, but it is quite a powerful shot. Because in this particular frame, there's quite a lot going on. It's a lot of people, almost quite a lot of clutter. You have flags, you have vehicles, you have hands in the air, but almost certainly your eye drives towards the hero, who is Michael Jackson here. And you can even see that at this point, the camera is actually placed lower than him to basically make him feel as if he's triumphant, as if he's now the hero that he truly is, which reminds us of the shot that we started with, where he was meant to feel insignificant. You can see the juxtaposition that I was talking about. The camera is raised above him to make him short and insignificant. In this shot, he's made to look mighty, standing above everyone. The other thing that I'm actually seeing is that we still have that consistent look. You have the umbrellas giving you that yellow and blue tone. But even in the American flag itself, you have that same message of the red and blue in there. And then of course you see the bus here has a tint, call it a teal look, not tint. It has a teal look, what we're calling blue. And then you have a taxi back down there in the far left side of the frame, giving you that yellow vibe. It's all intentional. It's all deliberate. Even in the colors of the cars that they're using to show up in the frame, it's all being intentionally selected to carry this whole message of we are using a teal and orange palette. I'll just keep moving. This is another example of a frame in a frame. First of all, you can see the color of ambulance is just a continuation of the palette we're working with. But even most obvious is the color of the cardigan, not the cardigan, the color of the blanket that Michael is wrapped in is yellow. It's intentionally used, one, to complement the fall within the palette, but also to make him pop out, given that he is the center of the action. And even the way in which the frame is lit, you have the ambulance lights on to really drive attention towards him. But then you also have the paparazzi here blasting their flashes to give you the sense of your eyes shouldn't be wandering off into the shadow areas. Your eyes should be focusing on the most light, rather the most bright points of the image. And then you can still look around the image. You see in the shadow sides of the image, we still have that same blue vibe going on. So as these guys are reeling him out of the ambulance, basically maybe paramedics, you see that this whole idea of the journalists, or call them paparazzi, are always around. It's almost carrying the story of celebrities and public figures never get a day off. They're always being followed around by journalists, by paparazzi. And then of course you have the frame in a frame. The ambulance door is creating a frame, drawing you into the point of interest. Okay, we'll keep moving. This is another shot that I really liked. It's a very, very, very creative shot. You see that it's quite simple, but it carries emotion. And the message I automatically get from this is the filmmaker or the cinematographer is trying to show you what you call a creative ritual that almost every creative has. It's that thing that you do right before you begin creating, right before you enter the zone, right before you begin performing. And here we see Michael almost breathing in and out, just preparing to go out on stage. And the use of the light is just to show you that there's light going on stage that is seeping through all the way to the back, what you're calling backstage, where they usually dress up and prepare to go out to perform their craft. And you can see that that beautiful light is, it's not too bright, but it's just a little, if I could say, spotlight that is seeping through maybe a crack somewhere that shines on his eye, to almost show that even if he's in the backstage, even if he's behind the stage, the spotlight is still on him. That's the interpretation that I could give you from this frame. But of course, someone else might get a totally different explanation around this. And the other thing you can see is that we are still using that blue color in his coat, but also in the shadows, and then of course his skin tones are juxtaposing the image to create that color contrast. Okay, we keep going. When I actually saw this the first time, I thought they had actually picked the actual clip from the classic Thriller music video, but it actually seems to be that this might actually be Jafar. That actually makes it look like some very good makeup artist was hired for this. The fact that they're almost making him look like Michael in the Thriller video itself. Of course, it helps that he's a nephew, so he almost looks like Michael, but it's still impressive makeup work going on. But also when I look at this, one other thing that I see is this whole technique of teal and orange isn't new, because the Thriller album, or call it the Thriller music video in particular, came out way before some of us were born. But you can see that even at the time, they were, if I could say, cognizant of the success that the teal and orange look often has. Okay, so here's an aerial shot of that particular image we had earlier of M just sitting standing on a car in between those buildings that had the leading lines. So you see what I was actually saying earlier. The props that they're using, or call them the elements. Props are usually like complementary things that are placed into the film to carry the emotion. An example could be the umbrellas that you see here, which all have the same color vibe that we're going with. But even the color of the cars that we have in there, you have a shade of maroon, but a dominant color that is really popping out if you just look at the frame is that yellow, that really yellowish orange kind of look coming off the taxis. And then of course the teal that is coming off the bus, this dump truck here, and I do see a sedan here as well that has a bit of white and teal in there. It's like your eye automatically picks up the color palette. It's like you almost block out the black cars in there, and your eye is almost certainly drawn towards the orange, call it the yellowish orange and the teal in the image itself. It's, again, not a mistake that they do it this way. It's all very intentional and very deliberate. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, I think this is the end of the clip. yeah, so that is it. Very, very cool, very, very cool trailer. I hope there's something that you were able to glean from my blabbing. I don't think I was actually blabbing. I think I was really sharing quite a bit of useful, creative, if I could say, tips that I'm just picking up as I watch a clip. This is actually a 2 minutes clip, and I've been talking for quite a bit of time. That just shows you that a great deal goes into creating the movies that we see. The fact that you can just watch a 2 minutes clip and really pull it out, piece different elements, try to explain what's going on in the frame, what is happening behind the scenes, just gives you an indication of the time and also expertise and talent that goes into putting together a production like this. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the film when it comes out in about a month's time. I will not be surprised if it goes on to break records as perhaps one of the... It might actually be the best-selling... I'm just prophesying now. It might end up being the best-selling... what do they call them? Are they biopics? I think they're called biopics. This style of movie that is done to almost work as a documentary. Let me just confirm that before I say something that... let me say, what is a biopic? I think they're called biopics. Yes, it's a film dramatizing the life of a particular person. Yeah, so I get the sense that this might actually end up being one of the best-selling biopics of all time. And I believe he has what you call a viewer magnet. And I would not be surprised if this particular film goes on to really rack in some very, very good numbers. Yeah, so if there's anything that you picked up on, that perhaps you enjoyed during our conversation, please do not hesitate to let me know in the comments. But I will actually be more interested in knowing what else did you see in the trailer? What else did you pick up on? What else did you find fascinating in our little talk here? And yeah, let's learn from each other. So maybe as we end, I'm just going to play the trailer again. This will just work as a palate cleanser for you to, if I could say, digest quite a bit of what we've been talking about, and maybe see how much you can remember as the clip plays, and try to get an understanding of what the cinematography and storytelling has going on. Enjoy.
You're confident. You're strong. You're beautiful. You're the greatest of all time.
Let me tell you something. In this life, you're either a winner or you're a loser. Y'all want to work in a steel mill like me for the rest of your days?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I sure as hell don't. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
I need to hear you a little louder. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
Ready whenever you are, Michael.
Do you know what I'm after? You want to be the biggest star in the world?
We need to capitalize on Michael's success. Because the Jackson family is the brand. That's our Coca-Cola. And we need to start selling. So I'm planning an international tour. This is just the beginning.
I need to think.
I told you what to think.
I love my family. I just want to do my own thing. Just have all these ideas in my head. Just got to get them out.
And do it, Michael. Not a little boy anymore.
People always told me, be careful what you do.
Michael, I knew you were different the moment you were born. You have a very special life, too.
And mother always told me, be careful who you love.
I believe music can change the world.
Let the lie become the truth. The bitter cheese, like my love.
Spread love,
The bitter cheese,
joy,
like my love.
And peace.
Yeah.
that is what I want the world to feel. Magic.